we are super hungry. Super hungry. We have 69% hunger right now. Bane isn't too bad, but he just fed the pups and he might feed them again. Although I think, yeah, they're pretty full. But we're so close. Look at that. Teo is already a 12-pound puppers. And then we've got Aspen right behind by an ounce and Mikhail right behind by an ounce. So they're honestly all just about the same size, which is really cool. We did not get a runt in this. I was a little worried about that. But I think since we only had 3 babies, they might be really strong. So, oh, no. Go home. No. Teo.
Seraph stands upon the edge of a hill as the winds suddenly shift against her pearl-colored coat. All sound dies on this wind, and her ears turn sharply in response. Nothing. She raises her muzzle to the sky, eyes narrowing in focus. Blood. The scent of young blood floods deep into her core, sparking a long, buried sorrow. This is the scent of a wolf pup. Even though her times of motherhood were long over, the instinct, the maternal urge to hurry, tugs her paws into action, leading her in the direction of the blood. When Seraph approaches a small cluster of trees and brambles, sounds return. The sudden burst of wings flapping sharply, the rustling of dead branches, a yipping of coyotes arguing, and then the scratching of claws against the dirt, all rushes to her at once. She watches the 2 earthen-coated terrors yip and scurry away at her approach. A harsh and unexpected snarl lurches from her chest at their escape. Seraph loathes coyotes. Vermin, she calls them. She whips her head towards the bushes from whence they came, and her golden gaze lands on a gray lump of fur lying motionless in the shadows. With eyebrows furrowed upwards in worry, Seraph trots hopelessly towards the unmoving creature. The pup, now at her paws, shows no signs of life. No whimper, no breath, no heartbeat emerges from this child. Seraph lowers herself to this young, deceased wolf pup and says a small familiar prayer she had said too often within her short life.
Eartha, breathe life into this child one more time.
With gentle strength, she rolls the pup over with her muzzle. His body is warm against her cold, wet nose, but is as still as a winter river. The breeze above her causes the trees to whine with strain, and her attention is pulled towards the burning of the sun. Fire, the winds whisper to her within the leaves. When Seraph looks back toward the bundle of fur beneath her, she is met with tender, blue eyes. Seraph's heart lifts with relief. However, the pup is shrouded in fear and pain.
Hush now. Do not be frightened, my child.
Seraph hums in a low and soft tone.
I am here, and I will not let anything harm you ever again.
Seraph took in the young male pup and learned his name. Teo. Seraph raised him in the old ways, long lost to the wolves of Yellowstone. She spoke the truths of the goddesses who sculpted the very land they call home. Bovar, goddess of the flame, power, and ambition, formed the very earth from a small ember cradled in her palms. Celeste, goddess of the sky, knowledge and understanding, separated the stones and flames from the heavens, painting them with stars and bathing the ground with light. Dunandan, goddess of the moon, wisdom and balance, flooded the lands with the waters of her heart, making the oceans, the rivers, and the rains. Then there was Eartha, mother of all life, shaper of beasts and curator of trees. To her, all life returns. Eartha remained the cornerstone of all her teachings to young Teo. At first, Teo clung to the teaching and wisdom of Seraph. In his eyes, now a mother and teacher. However, fear and anger festered deep within his heart. Seraph feared Bavar had left an unhealable mark as the price of Teo's life. Seasons pass, and Seraph learns much in exchange from Teo. He shares with her the memories of his first few precious months. However, in the end, no matter how happy or loving these memories were, Bavar's clutch on his heart turned him to resentment. In his eyes, his family abandoned him. "They never came looking for me," he snarls. "Where were they when I was being torn apart and mauled by those vermin?" With a deep breath, he sighs. "How can I ever forgive that?" Seraph holds her ears against her skull in worry.
Be mindful of your anger, my child.
Seraph warns gently.
For we all know Bavar's fire can be all-consuming.
Their exchange is cut short with the smell of ash and death on the wings of Celeste. On the outskirts of Amethyst Mountain, Teo labors to pull Seraph's motionless body out of the smoke still bellowing across the horizon. Driven by the will to live, he ignores the searing pain of his flame-kissed skin to examine his surroundings. His heart is somber, knowing that he has once again been chased from his home. Now a safe distance from the ever-consuming inferno, he rests beside Seraph in hopes of bringing her back to the world of the living. "Please come back to me," he prays, choking back ash and tears. "Eartha," he cries through bared teeth, "don't you dare take her from me!" On the breath of a whisper, he adds, "I'm not yet ready to do this alone." After a moment to clear the smoke from his lungs, he gently grabs the softness of her hackles to drag her toward the lifeblood of Dunedin in hopes it will fill Seraph with life once again. In a sudden gasp at the clenching of Teo's fangs, Seraph opens her eyes to the horrifying scene before her. She coughs and says in a raspy voice,
Eartha and Bavar are waging war.
With a weak heart and aching bones, she rises up and presses forward.
The goddess of wisdom can shelter us. I know the way.
In the newfound safety of Lost River, the crisp autumn winds lull summer into its cyclical slumber. Herds of great elk wander through the remnants of an ancient settlement once belonging to the humans. Teo watches from the shadows of a crumbling building, salivating in anticipation for his next meal. Seraph slinks silently towards Teo's side and advises,
Hold a moment and watch closely. Wait for the weakest to reveal itself.
She pauses, scanning the prey, and adds,
In their herd, they are strongest.
Starving and impatient, Teo growls, Who cares? We are stronger still! With fire in his heart and nothing in his belly, he leaps forward without hesitation, calling out, With our sharp fangs and Eartha's blessing, we take what we want! The herd, quick to notice the presence of danger, scatter and stampede their way through the lost settlement. Dust and rocks fly from behind their hooves as Teo's gnashing teeth come but just inches away from their mark. Seraph jerks forward to follow, but is held back, wincing from the lightning pain in her old bones. With a sigh, she realizes Teo will have to do this on his own. The sun begins to set, and the scraps of a couple hairs are all that fill the wolves' bellies. Disappointed and barely full enough to last the night, Teo lashes out. "Where were you?" He snarls with bared teeth. "We could have taken down a feast."
Look at me.
Seraph sighs, and tears well in her eyes.
I am frail, and my time is coming to join our mother and the roots of the world.
Teo, in fierce denial, barks at her. "No, you aren't! If you would have tried harder, we could have done it together." Seraph, unsure of how to make him understand her impeding mortality, remains silent. Night after night, and season after season, hunts remain unsuccessful, and the small pack of 2 barely eat enough to survive. Seraph, sensing a growing ambition in Teo to prove himself, cautions him on the dangers of following in the wrathful goddess's footsteps.
Bovar only saw what she could not have, and shared not of what she did.
Teo, taken aback as being compared to the enemy, retorts. "Are you saying I should be grateful for the scraps left to me by vermin and non-believers?" He snorts and argues. "I was supposed to be the heir to a kingdom, only to be abandoned as scavengers rip me apart. Without a second thought from them, I would be dead if it weren't for you. It's hard to not want more when you were promised the world as a pup." Seraph leers with disappointment and a broken heart, perched upon a rock only to watch the fires of Bovar consume the last hope of carrying on the old truths.
But watchful one, doesn't even the mightiest of trees begin from the humblest of seedlings in the dust of the earth?
She implores.
You too can be the noblest of wolves, starting from the scraps of rodents.
She whines, wanting to stand, but her old bones won't let her.
You still have so much to learn, Mage.
Teo huffs, interrupting her, and growls. "How can I prove to you that I am ready? Haven't I learned enough?" Realizing she cannot win against the fires of his heart, she replies, defeated.
You must kill 2 elk on your own and find your connection with Eartha, your true mother.
She turns her head away to hide her tears and adds,
Do not return until you have done so.
With determination, Teo looks forward to the horizon. "I will. Then you will see that I am ready to take back what is rightfully mine." He steps down from his rock, and with a softer tone adds, "For both of us." Seraph watches as Teo sprints without hesitation, headlong into his destiny, and wonders if he'll ever know how much she loves him. Seraph's legs tremble beneath her as she struggles to stand. Eartha's embrace on her is firm but comforting, and the she-wolf is tempted to finally see her lost children again.
Not yet.
She pleads to the goddess.
I must do one last thing for him.
Love carries her to the old rickety watchtower that they had called home since their arrival in the Lost River. With much effort, she digs. It hurts, and her time is fleeting, but Seraph uncovers her long-hidden relic. It's an old bone from her first year here with Vander, Seraph's first mate. It was a true prize from a boar grizzly the 2 young and naive wolves won in a battle of wills. The bone was also the last thing she had with Vander. She smiles in disbelief that it's truly been here all this time. Seraph picks it up and places it with a few other bones into a rune for Teo. It's a message, only one he would understand.
Goodbye, my son.
She whispers with labored breath. Now she truly feels heavy, but Seraph will not let Teo see her empty vessel upon his return. It would be too hard on him. Heart burdened with worry, she trudges forward, knowing this is her end. As her paw prints trail behind her, The last remnants of her life, she says one final prayer. Not to Eartha, not to the other goddesses, but to Teo.
Watch for me on the horizon, sweet Teo, for I'm never too far away.